Hi. So I'm continuing to talk about different topics to practice my spoken English, because the best way to practice spoken English is to speak to someone, and it's kind of difficult to speak to myself when I talk to the wall, for example, because I kind of go deep into my thoughts and stop talking the way I usually talk to other people quite quickly, and I start to think more, and I more think, then I talk. So my speech becomes usually very slow, and it's not very consecutive or logical. So I think I have found a way to practice this talking to myself. It's like I recording the video without any editing, the way I talk to someone. I can imagine that I talk to someone else when I record this video, and then this someone else will watch this video, and it will be like we are talking to each other through these video messengers. So it's easier to talk this way than just talk to the wall or to the yellow duck. And the main I think difficulty is to find a good topic that I know quite well and that is interesting for me, and I need to have some thoughts about this topic, and to express these thoughts in the videos like this. So my current topic is about Brian Tracy. He is an American entrepreneur, businessman, speaker, and he coach of success. I think this is the right term for his speaking practice. Well, I have some thoughts about him, and I know some facts about him, so I'll just we will be talking the way my thoughts come to my mind, and we'll see how it will go. Anyway, I learned about Brian Tracy in, I think, 2002, when my mother bought me a book, or his book Maximum Achievement. This book was in Russian. It was translated in Russian. The book was quite cool. I read some of the chapters. I liked the stories in this book, and the style the book was wrote, but the problem was where as soon as I closed the book, I completely forgot all the ideas, all the stories from this book, and I thought it was the difference between the Russian, I don't know, between the Russian mentality and the American mentality. But then years later, I think in 2012, maybe 10, maybe 11 or 12 years later, I have found his seminar when he came to Ukraine, and he talked to the salesman in Ukraine on his subject. Some of his topic was about improving your personal achievements and skills, and some of the topic was about the improving your sales, but the topic was more general than specific, because he announced that the specific topic on improving sales will be held the next day. So it wasn't in the seminar, and the seminar was like Brian Tracy talked a sentence, and then an interpreter, a man, translated this sentence into Russian. And this way I could listen to the voice of Brian Tracy, but I didn't understand English listening to it yet. And I could hear the Russian translation of this sentence, and it was a really cool seminar with some very interesting ideas. I don't know, maybe these ideas were in this book, Maximum Achievement, or maybe Brian got these ideas later, because the book was created in 1988. Brian was 44 at that age, and I was just born. Not at this age, at this moment. And I was just born. So this program is quite old. The book is quite old. And Brian added new material to his seminar through years. But this particular seminar in Ukraine wasn't based on this book, but it was about a year, an hour and a half in length. So Brian put some most strong and bright ideas into it. And because he talked only half a time, because the interpreter talked the other half of time, the seminar was even shorter. But it was really cool. I learned some topics, some ideas that I remembered from the seminar, and I remember it even now, maybe 5 years later. I didn't listen to this seminar for these 5 years. And I got this feeling from this seminar that I didn't get from the book. The feeling that I got something that sank into my mind. And the first idea was about the experiment. Brian Tracy talked about the experiment that was that began in America, maybe in 1960s or maybe 80s. It doesn't really matter. The experiment is quite long. Maybe it lasted for 50 years to the date of the seminar. And the experiment was about great companies who wanted to know what were the qualities of the best salesmen, the best managers, so that they could hire people with more probability of success than just hiring them and then finding out that these people are not so successful in terms of sales or management. And these big companies paid lots of money to scientists to make these researches. And scientists invented the following research. They took, I don't know, maybe 2,000 the most successful managers in these companies, and through a year, maybe 2 years, these scientists called these most successful managers when they were on their job, called by phone, and they at some, I don't know, maybe at some random time, I think it's random, So they called them and asked the question, what are you thinking about right now? And the manager answered his thinking in his mind right now. And this research continued for 5 years, and now this research, at that date, research continued for 50 years. And the scientists found out that the most successful managers, the most successful people always think about their job at the moment when they were working. They didn't think about what they were going to do in the evening after work. They didn't think about their past, about something that happened to them and that worried them. They didn't think about how they would spend their holidays. They just thought about their particular job they were doing at the time and how they could improve their job, how they could do something that will improve their skills for this job and that would make them more successful at this job. So this was the first idea, and Brian kind of presented this question to the audience. He told them to ask themselves during the day, what am I thinking about right now? And if they thought about something that didn't that wasn't related for the particular job they wanted to be successful at, they needed to put the mind to that particular moment. It's like the state of being here and now, but this question gives you more control over your thought. It's not like you say, I'm going to be here and now, right now. Yeah, because it's kind of difficult to explain to yourself. You are always here right now. Yeah, like you can't be anywhere else because your body is here, you breathe the air here, you watch everything around you with your eyes right now and right here. But in your mind, you may be everywhere. You may be in the past, in the future. You may be in the movies you watched, in the books you read, in the thoughts you had yesterday, or in anything else but in this moment, in this place. So when you ask yourself, what am I doing about right now, you make your brain put your thoughts into this moment to concentrate on the current task you are doing, and you can not only concentrate on the current task, you can try to change your state of mind by thinking about this task, imagining the success of the successful finishing of this task, imagining the feeling of enjoyment that you can get from doing this task if you can perform this task at 100% efficiency. Yeah. So this is the first idea. And the second idea was more about fun, but it is really interesting. It wasn't in the maximum achievement, at least at those parts. I think the first half of the book that I read in Russian. Brian Tracy told that most of the successful people successful in different areas of life, not just in business, in doing money, but in the human relationships with their friends, in the family relationships with their spouses and their children, in different types of activity, successful in physical activity, like, I don't know, running, doing some exercises, and so on. So these successful people are usually optimists, because we all have our up and downs, but in the end, optimists have the higher attitude towards the life. They expect more good things from life, and they interpret the bad things that happen in life towards them like the lessons that they can use to improve themselves. Like, life gave them the feedback what they are doing wrong, and using this feedback they can improve themselves. But Brian Tracy said that when life wanted to give you a present, it wraps this present into problems, and the more problems you have, the bigger present the life will give you later. His joke was that all the audience should think that life was going to give them the giant present because they were all in crisis at that moment. Anyway, because successful people in different areas of life are usually optimists, or maybe optimists are successful people. Anyway, he told the story of some boy, Jimmy, I don't know. He was mega optimist, and he always found something funny, enjoyable, happy in every moment in his life. He was never sad, negative, and other stuff. And his parents even worried that it wasn't normal, because he never cried, he never was sad or upset. And one day, when it was his birthday, they just brought him lots of manure as the present. I don't know, maybe they lived in some private house, so they had this barn or something, and they gave him lots of manure as the present, and they told him that this is your present. They wanted him to be sad once, as all normal children were. Yeah. And they left him with this giant pile of manure, and they walked away. And then they returned. They wanted to see him sad and crying, but he was laughing, and he was sliding from this giant pile of manure as from this, I don't know, sliding something surface. Yeah. And he was laughing, he was jumping in this manure, and they asked him why he was so happy. They gave him manure for his birthday, no present, just this. Maybe no present was better than this stuff of present. And then he told them this idea. If there was so much manure, then there must be somewhere a pony, which was the real present for him, as he thought. So this is the way the optimists think about every trouble in their life. If there is so much manure, there must be a pony somewhere. around, yeah, as a present for them, because they wanted this pony so much. And this was the second lesson from this particular seminar, and I liked it very much. And this was the turning point when I felt that Brian Tracy was my speaker, my trainer. And later I learned English enough to understand it by ear without subtitles, without reading it. Yeah. And I found out that Brian Tracy had lots of seminars, about half an hour, that he gave to different audience on different topics. And I listened to these seminars. They were all published on YouTube. And also I have found a big seminar made in 2011 about maybe 50, let's say 12 hours long, and this seminar was divided into 3 consecutive days when Brian Tracy talked to people, but it was put together into one big video about 12 hours. And I listened to this seminar a couple of times, and I discovered some ideas from this Maximum Achievement book of 1988 in this seminar of 2011. So Brian Tracy created this big seminar based... the book was the foundation of his seminar that he wrote into the book. And then he created the video, audio materials based on this material in the book. And then through the next 30 years, he added, maybe 20, 30 years, he added additional material to this basic material. Yeah, he improved some topics, he improved some stories. So it was cool to find some ideas that I read about in the book, but I didn't kind of get these ideas at that moment. But when I listened to Brian Tracy talking in his own calm, soft voice in English, these ideas sank into me quite quickly, because I kind of learned them, but I didn't remember them. And now I just get the feeling of these ideas in English in the original speech. Yeah. And there were lots of ideas. Most of them I just kind of remembered, and they were put into my mind, and I can't just recall some random ideas from this video, but they're really cool. And sometimes I met the situation when I remember maybe the example from life when Brian showed to illustrate the particular idea, or just some idea was kind of connected to some event in my life that happened. So I remembered the Brian's advice, just Brian's advice. Yeah. And also I learned lots of interesting facts about the life of Brian, because after learning lots of his ideas, I was interested in his life in general and how he came to these ideas. Yeah, what path he walked through his life. And I learned some facts, like he was born. I learned these facts from his book, from Wikipedia, and from these seminars when he talked short time about his life. So he was born in 1944 in Canada, and then he dropped out of, I don't know, middle school or something quite early. I don't know, maybe in 15 years. And he worked in different season jobs, and he was very bad at them. And at some point he joined the ship and kind of became the sailor. And he traveled with these ships all over the world, maybe 20 countries. He visited 20 countries being a sailor, I think in his 20s. And he even crossed the Sahara Desert from the from the north to the south with his friends, using only his jeep and kind of small amount of water, maybe food. And he talked about this experience in one of his seminars from 80s. He told that his jeep kind of broke a couple of times out of all this heat from the sun. They were not prepared for this heat in the day, during the day, and for this cold air during the night. But somehow they survived, because they could easily die during this unprepared travel through the Sahara from the north to the south. And they crossed the desert, and then they moved to, I think, Congo, where at that moment Albert Schweitzer took his practice of doctor in one of the Congo's hospitals. And Albert Schweitzer, I don't know how old he was, but Brian said that he was quite lucky to visit Albert Schweitzer in his hospital in Congo, and he stayed there for 10 days. And during these days, Albert Schweitzer talked to Brian when he wasn't busy by his practice, by his patients. And when Brian left Congo, left the hospital and traveled back somehow to, I don't know, Europe, to America, he learned later that 10 days after he left Albert Schweitzer's hospital, Schweitzer died out of his old age. So Brian kind of was in time to had this experience of talking to Brian and talking to Albert Schweitzer and experiencing his, attitude, his charisma. Brian said that Albert Schweitzer was so charismatic person that Albert, wrote to different doctors around the world, and he told them that he wanted them to work at his hospital in Congo for 2 years. Like, he wrote to one guy talked to one guy, and he said that I want you to become a pedestrian maybe and worked with me in this hospital for 2 years. And this guy, he was Englishman, and he I think he was a doctor, but he needed to change his specialty, and he studied as a physician maybe. And then he took his wife and his children, and he went back to Congo, and he asked Albert Schweitzer, do you still need me? And then Albert answered yes. So he came with his family to this Congo, and he treated people for 2 years. Yeah, and lots of people came to this hospital in Congo because Albert Schweitzer was there, and he was this great charisma personality. And Brian was successful, was lucky enough to meet this great man in his almost end of life. So what else? Brian Tracy said that he collected all the ideas from all the books on success that he could find. It's like he read all the time all the books on success. Then he could different ideas from different books, and he gathered them together, combined into some ideas that reflected the ideas from different books, because each author tried to be original and tries to show something new. But Brian tries to take all these ideas and find some general idea on particular topics. So Brian wrote about 70 his books, which are the collections of these ideas. Of course, he transformed these ideas into something more suitable, not just like several ideas, several quotations. He used these ideas in his own life, and he found what ideas were useful for him, and he wrote these ideas in his books, and he taught these ideas to different people. But a couple of times he created his personal know-how, and the most famous book of Brian Tracy that he wrote like the side quest for his editor is called Eat That Frog, and this book is about the idea how to solve different tasks, difficult tasks. Yeah. When you want to solve very difficult task, you need to perform some algorithm that he described in this book. Like, you need to wake up, you need to start your day by working at this particular, the most difficult task. And then after working some quarter of time, like an hour, maybe 2 hours, you can shift to other tasks that not so important for you and that are not so difficult for you. And you need to do this every day. And you need to divide your difficult task into small parts that are not so difficult to perform, to achieve. And you need to apply the first part of this algorithm, like working on the most difficult task and working on these particular small tasks of this big difficult task every day, the first thing in the morning. And in a month, maybe 2 months, in 6 months, you will find out that you have successfully solved the whole task, or maybe half of the task. But before you started to work on your task with this systematic approach, you thought that this task was like unconquerable, unbeatable mountain that you can't climb. But 6 months later, you see that this is just another mountain, just another hill that stands on your way to your goal, and you just climb over this hill, and standing on the top of the hill, you see the other hills that lies between you and your goal, and you just move down the hill you are standing right now and climb on the next hill, and so on until you reach the goal you want to reach. Well, this is the most essential part of his philosophy, not the Edith Frog part, but the part of combining all these different ideas from different authors, from different sources, because sometimes it's kind of difficult to learn the idea from one author, because I can't take, let's say, the way the author expresses his thoughts, the language he uses, the particular structures he uses, and sometimes in some different book I can read the same idea, maybe even simpler idea, but it is expressed in the sentence, in the words, in the structures that sinks into my mind immediately without any trouble, and I get this idea in my mind, and I can use it in my real life. It's not about the idea itself, but about the way the idea expressed using language. So this is the power of language, when they say that the speaker can control the masses, speaker can lead the masses of people somewhere he wants them to lead, with the power of the word. And the power of the word is the most powerful thing, not just the power of weapon or anger or of fear. The power of the word is the most powerful thing in the world, and I think that I found my type of speaker whose structures in the language, who's expressing ideas into the particular language are the most suitable for me, because Russian translation shows the same ideas, but I can't kind of put them in my mind. My mind always resists these ideas, but when I listen to the same ideas in English, my mind just thinks of them in itself. And there are some other small facts about Brian Tracy, but they are quite cool, so I can talk about them in the conclusion of this video. Like, now he is about 80 years old, and when he was when he was 70, he traveled a lot by plane over the world. He gave lots of lectures in Russia, in different cities, and his wife Barbara was always with him. They traveled together, and Brian, and his wife, they had 4 children. I think 2 daughters and 2 sons, and some of them, or at least one daughter, is the manager of his company, so she kind of controls the organization of this whole thing. When he gives the seminars, she controls the gathering of people, the payments for the seminar, and Brian is just responsible for delivering his ideas to the people the most suitable way for them and the best way he can do this. This is quite an interesting family business because his children are interested in providing him the better service for creating his seminars, and he is interested in giving the most interested seminars. Yeah, I think this is the main ideas main facts that I can remember just from my head, from associations, from any associations with Brian Tracy, and I thought about them, and I think that Brian Tracy is one of the best choices for me to get the ideas on different areas of success, but the way I can really get these ideas from his topic, because lots of speakers talk on some success, but you and I need to find our speaker who will be suitable for us, whose language patterns will be quite corresponding to the language patterns I easily understand and can kind of think in these patterns, not just get any thought and then transform it with lots of struggle into the way I can use this idea. But Brian gives the ideas the way I can use them from his speech, kind of without any change. So thank you, Brian, that you are in my life. So that's all.